Hello and welcome to the second part of our video series, in which we connect teams to a visualization to send messages from a Peakboard box. In the first part, we have already shown you how you can send messages to a channel without administrator authorization. You can find the link in the video description. Today we want to develop this visualization further in order to be able to display messages and reply to them in the thread with the help of an administrator permission. To do this, we start again in the Azure portal. Here we open our already created app and add a new permission under API permissions. Specifically, we need the channel message.read.all permission as a delegated permission. Once we have added this, the administrator must grant this access. As soon as we have our permission for this function, we can switch to the designer and duplicate one of the existing graph data sources. We give it the name messages as we want to display all messages in a specific channel in a specific team in this data source. As we need the additional permission for this, we enter it in and authenticate the graph data source as before by clicking on Authenticate. Next, we extend our call to access the messages. Here we specify that we want to load the last 10 messages. We can choose any number we like, but we recommend keeping the number as low as possible to save resources. If we reload the data, we can see that the last 10 messages in our channel are displayed with additional meta information. Finally, we set our variable channel ID and team ID for the channel and the team so that we can also make dynamic selections here later. We then process the values from the messages data source in a data flow to display only messages of type message and no other information that is displayed in the channel. To reload the messages whenever a different channel is selected, we add a reload for our messages data source to the channel ID variable in the refresh script. We then adapt the design of our visualization to display the messages later. To do this, we create a list view that we link to our data flow. In the list view, we adjust the controls so that the name of the author of the message and the content are displayed. To be able to select a message to be replied to in the thread later, we create a new variable that we call message ID. Then we give the list view a name so that we can address it via script. In the list view, we then create a transparent rectangle on whose tapped event we create a logic that writes the ID of the selected message to the message ID variable we have just created. Next, we add the value of the message ID variable as a new line in our data flow. We do this in order to be able to access the value within the list view. To ensure that the value is always reloaded when a new message is selected, we create a reload event on the message ID variable in which we reload the data flow. Now we can create a conditional formatting within the list view that colors the frame of the message ID in the message that corresponds to the message ID. In the preview, we can test whether our logic works so far. As explained, the frame of the selected message changes color. In order to be able to reply to this message in the thread, we need to create a new function. This is similar to our team's send message function, but requires an additional parameter, namely the message ID. However, the body remains exactly the same. Again, you will find all the calls in the video description. Finally, we duplicate the button for sending the message and simply adjust the function. In addition, we now have to reload the messages data source when sending a new message so that it is also displayed. We also need to add this to the existing button. After that, we are already finished with our visualization. In the preview, we can see that the messages are displayed accordingly depending on which team and channel we select. we can send a message as usual and then select reply to it. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you are interested in other topics about the Graph API, please write us in the comments. Otherwise, we would be happy if you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our new videos. Thanks.